let's pivot now. Let's talk about Bob Iger, Bob Chapek. There's been a lot of outlets, Hollywood trades reporting there is increasing tension amongst Bob Iger and Bob Chapek, and it really it didn't start with this. It actually started back in, I think, April when Iger announced to the media that he's going to play a more hands-on role in the company after he left and gave Chapek the CEO position. But I guess apparently he didn't tell Bob Chapek that, and Bob Chapek found that out from the media report. So that caused a little bit of a sour grape situation, and understandably so. I don't blame Chapek for that. Iger should have had the respect to be like, hey, I'm gonna come out and say I'm gonna have a little more hands-on. Is that okay with you? I know you're the CEO now. I don't want to step on any toes. He should have done that. But that sort of triggered this whole kind of the beginning of the snowball. And then now, from what we're hearing from all the trades, is that this, Scarlett Johansson thing, Iger is mortified. He's absolutely mortified that this is going on. George, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, do you believe these reports that there is tension between these two men? Do you think that it's sort of maybe exaggerated for views and clicks, or what are your thoughts? Where do you stand on it?
Well, I think even before the lawsuit even broke out on media, you could kind of already feel the tension between the battle of the Bobs, so to speak, is what I like to call it. It's like little things here and there, because even when Iger first announced, with his retirement as CEO, Chapek is standing in. If you watch that interview, you can literally see rather the spotlight move over from Iger to Chapek, it stayed on Iger. Iger answered all the questions he was talking, and it's like Chapek is just like sitting there as like the younger sibling, just like sitting there. It's like, okay, let big brother talk. It's like, it's one of those transitions that really the company never really had to face, because again, I've mentioned this many times before. I really truly feel that after the executives didn't want Staggs to move forward into the position after Iger, there was really nobody left that I feel could have fulfilled that position. And time was running out. Iger kept on putting out his retirement of saying, okay, it's going to be this date. It's going to be December of this year. And then it got pushed back again. So again, that's where it kind of even ties in, even like with Black Widow. When everything gets delayed for a certain purpose and it comes to a boil, you have an explosion. And this is where I think it started at that point, and now here it is. And I really think that they're trying to be somewhat on a professional level without actually coming out and saying, hey, I have a problem with this guy. But I really think a lot more is going to come out once Iger is officially gone from the company and Chapek fully steps out into the spotlight.
And here's the thing that's interesting about that, George.
This is going to end well.
Yeah, isn't this going to end well, huh?
And here's the thing that's interesting about this. If the trades are correct, and there really is animosity between these two men, and Iger is really mortified, and Feige's mortified, and Iger and Feige and all these people are so mad at Chapek, and they think he's really bungling. If that's true, Iger's still chairman of the board. You will see, in my opinion, if all these trades are correct, you will see movement to remove Chapek. Mm-hmm. If Iger leaves in December and there's nothing, Chapek still has his job and nothing happens, then I'm going to really start to question these sources, because I would find it hard to believe that there would be all this drama between Iger and Chapek and Feige and Chapek, and they don't do anything. When Iger sits as the chairman of the board, when he has the power to vote him out, while he's still there till December, I think that the action up until December when he leaves will really dictate to us what the truth is, in my opinion.
But also to the same token of how even Chapek got appointed as CEO, if they were to vote him out, do they even have someone as a backup?
Well, they wouldn't even necessarily need to. I mean, they might have somebody. Remember, they just bought Fox, so they inherited a bunch of new executives from that studio too.
True.
True.
But like, the thing is that like Iger just might say, hey, we just voted to fire Chapek, and I'll be extending my contract one more year to find somebody that can replace him. and he'll be the basically the interim CEO until they can find somebody else. Well,
Yeah.
Rudio, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, do you believe that there's tension? Do you think there's a chance Chapek gets fired?
What's funny is I watched this show. I don't know if you guys watch it on HBO. It's called Succession.
Okay.
So in Succession, probably the end of the first season, there's this big battle between the son who wants to become the CEO and the father who reigns supreme. And there's almost this plan to sabotage on each end who wants to overtake the company. And I feel whoever executes that the best is going to end up becoming the winner in the situation. I mean, if I was a member of that board right now, I would vote no confidence in Bob Chapek. That's just my opinion. That's just me overlooking what he's done in the past, what he's doing now. I would vote no confidence in him and bring Bob Iger to pretty much salvage the troops, pretty much make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen. I mean, Bob Chapek's looking at the situation as of right now. You have to look for the next 10 to 20 years, making sure that talent's going to be taken care of, making sure that Marvel Studios, you're probably the biggest moneymaker right now, the studio who's got the best track record. Sorry to say, it's not Star Wars, it's not Lucasfilm, it's not Pixar right now. Pixar's kind of pissed at you because you put all those movies on Disney Plus for.
And Chapek was the one who frontlined Disney Plus, because I remember I was actually at the parks when he made this announcement, when he said Disney Plus is going to be the front runner from now on, and the parks are going to be put on the back burner. So when you have the CEO saying, okay, Disney Plus is going to be the front line of the whole entire company, and then you have a lawsuit based off of what you're releasing on that streaming service, it's like, well, who is it going to point to? It's going to point to the CEO.
Yeah, I actually do agree though with Chapek's call on that. I think that the streaming service is more important right now.
It is.
Yeah, I think that this is something that you really have to put your flag in and stake your market share. The parks are established entities. They don't. Yeah, they can kind of, I'm not saying let them rot or anything, but I mean they can kind of coast a little bit with that. But Vash, what are your thoughts on the Iger Chapek thing? The tension? Do you think Chapek's getting fired or?
Well,
That's not up to you.
Okay. Sorry, I clipped all these things in advance. I'm going to use them. Okay. But no, I mean, look, listen. There are definitely some battle drums being drawn in the sand here. Okay, I think the leaks from the trades are on purpose. I think they're leaking stuff. I think that is a purposeful effort to kind of, get people's thoughts across and get kind of, create opinions and drive them in the public sphere and drive them in the court of public opinion, which, by the way, going back to Disney's response for just one moment here, that was a court of public opinion battle right there. They didn't have any, legal case that they were drawing up, which is also why I'm kind of, but look, even going back to that though, there was a lot of emotion in that. This is not just an attack on Disney. This lawsuit here, this is an attack at Chapek, because now that Alan Braverman's gone or whatever, he's kind of in the command seat here because he made the choice to distribute this film on Disney Plus without tying up the loose ends of somebody like Scarlett Johansson. Okay, and this whole kind of thing, I think, I don't know who's orchestrating it. Because there's just so many, you just don't see this in Hollywood. You just don't see like a top rate talent like Scarlett Johansson go after Disney like this, because she will be blacklisted. It's one of those.
We're still friends, right?
Yeah. See, there you go. Right.
Do you have all the audio cues? Do you have the one where it's like, "See you on the other side"? Do you have that one ready?
No, I don't. I don't. Oh man, I should have grabbed that. That's in Civil War, right? That's in like...
No, that's in Endgame, when they're about to go through the time warp. When they're about to go.
Yes. Right, when they had the suits and they had the... Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't have that.
It's okay.
But okay. But, I mean, my point is, though, I think... I don't know if it's Kevin Feige. I don't know if it's Bob Iger. it's very interesting. I think the third weekend that Black Widow was out, the Business Insider article was put forward, and one of the big lines in there was Chapek ending these long-term contracts that they used to have for both talent and for executives. And I think that put a lot of people on edge, especially somebody like Kevin Feige, who's, he's got like a whole universe to craft.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know who's going to be there in 5 years or whatever. That's crazy. How do you even do your job?
Look, I totally believe in flexibility, but but you also have to, like in Marvel's case, you have to know when you're mapping out a cinematic universe, you got to know that you have a certain star locked in for the next 5 years, so you can map that universe out.
Yeah.
That it's wild, but I really do think the truth will come out, because
absolutely,
if Iger and the board, if Iger leaves in December and nothing happens from this and Chapek is still there, then I'm seriously going to question the validity of what these trades are reporting. Because I would just find it hard to believe that Iger, who really, Marvel is his baby. I mean, Bob Iger loves Marvel. He's proud of what he accomplished with Feige, with Marvel, and he should be. But if he just sits back and lets Chapek sit there and burn that to the ground and leaves in December, then there's something going on here, and I don't think that the tension is as bad as we think it is.
But why would Bob Iger do that? Why would Iger leave Chapek out in the hill like that? See, that's what I don't understand. And then you're having some Bob Iger loyalists?
Well, that's what I was going to
prove that statement.
That's what I was going to end up saying. It's not even just with Marvel. Even as Rudio mentioned, even look at Pixar. Pixar got a big whopping goose eggs. All these came from Iger. None of these companies would even be connected into the Walt Disney Company if it wasn't for Iger. Right. So, as Vash's point, that's where I'm kind of confused, looking at both ends of that spectrum, because Iger would step in by now, but yet at the same point, I think honestly Chapek would have been already gone before it even hit to this point. So it's like, who is run? It's almost like who's running the show here. It's like that's.
Well, yeah, and the woman who wrote the statement that we've all said was completely out of line was one of Bob Iger's inner circle. It was that Xenia. I forgot. I mean, you know what? I'll look it up right now. Hold on. Walt Disney Company. I think her name is Xenia, or her last name. She is. Yes. It's Xenia Mucha. I'll go ahead and screen share real quick. She has been with Disney for a very long time, and she's one of Bob Iger's right-hand people. In fact, Deadline said she was Bob Iger's inner circle when she announced her retirement a few weeks ago. So this is not somebody who would make a rookie mistake like that. So why is she saying?
So do you think, not to accuse anybody, but I mean, was this whole thing for Chapek to be set up for failure? I mean, because after the fact that
sorry, go ahead.
Because after the fact that the pandemic was, it came to fruition, it's all over the world. It's like Iger was like, peace, I'm out. It's like, I'm done. I'm putting in my resignation from the company. And then it's like, okay, well, here's Chapek. And I think they kind of knew the direction that Chapek would take the company based off of him becoming the parks chairman. And let's face it, I mean, it really wasn't the highlight of the company with him being the chairman. So it's like, well, what if we kind of use him as the scapegoat, up until the point. Again, I'm not trying to say that that's Iger's fault, but it's just like, I'm not seeing anything come from either side. It's like everything is just happening and it's a standstill, and no one is coming forth to say, hey, you know what, I'm pulling on the reins here. We got to get this back on track. Because honestly, if it was of how Frank Wells and the Eisner era, they would have done something about it by now.
The problem I have though, there has been this kind of theory going around that, like, from the beginning, Iger wanted to set Chapek up for failure. See, I think maybe now he does, because maybe now he's not happy with the job he's doing. but I don't think he would do that from the onset, from the very beginning, because Iger has been very vocal in his desire to have a clean succession plan, because Iger is smart. He knows that this succession directly impacts his legacy. If Chapek goes down in flames after Iger has been on all these talk shows saying that Chapek's the right man for the job and his board voted for Chapek, Iger would look very bad.
It'd have a cloud over all of D plus too, which is kind of the one last thing that Bob Iger left for the entire company.
So what do you think that Iger is actually waiting for in the sense of not making a move?
That's a good question. Rudio, what do you think? What is Iger waiting for? If he's so mortified, he's chairman of the board, vote him out. What's going on?
That's the one thing that I'm curious on too, is like, when are they going to strike? Because in the grand scheme of things, this is a battle within a war.
Oh yeah.
This is just one big war with this small battle. I mean, like OG, you keep saying Iger's planning to leave in December 31st, 2021.
Right.
When does that move happen? Does it happen before the next shareholder meeting? Because I was just telling a friend of mine that next shareholder call, the quarterly
conference call.
Yeah, it's gonna be pay-per-view
next week. That's next week. You know, I mean, it's coming. So look, that question and answer session. Oh, there's gonna be some questions.